Welcome to Auto Guangzhou 2026. This is the 24th iteration of the show, and right now it holds the largest single display of finished decisions anywhere in the industry. Across these halls, there are 1,085 vehicles sitting on the floor. Over the course of 10 days, 855,000 people will walk through these doors to evaluate them. But if you look under the metal, the variation disappears. Across those 1,000-plus cars, the cell chemistry is shared, the 800-volt architecture is shared, the cockpit silicon and the sensor suites are supplied by the exact same companies. The spec sheet has stopped separating one brand from another, which means technological superiority has effectively vanished as a competitive edge on the showroom floor. AlixPartners recently counted 129 different brands selling new energy vehicles in China alone. When the underlying hardware is practically identical across the aisle, the only thing a buyer actually resolves in 3 seconds is proportion, stance, graphic, and surface. Walking these halls, there is a hum of active competition, but absolutely nothing is decided at Guangzhou. Every debut you see here is simply the physical consequence of a styling choice that someone locked in exactly 24 months ago. Guangzhou is where you find out what was. It is the invoice, a highly public cashing in of a 2-year-old gamble against 92 rivals who made theirs the exact same week. Legacy manufacturers spent 5 years developing a vehicle. Today, organizations compress that cycle to 24 months. It's not cutting corners, but a complete rebuild of the work. Virtual simulation covers 65% of testing, and integrated supply chains save 3 months. Then there is decoupled software, which saves anywhere from 3 to 10 months. The code ships unfinished with the car and completes itself over the air, well after it leaves the factory. But look closely at that list: manufacturing, validation, procurement, software. Every single one of those massive time savings sits entirely downstream of styling. They all happen after the physical shape has been frozen. Inside these companies, some of the new techniques are often sold as flexibility. Take soft tooling, the use of rapid polymer molds for manufacturing. It shaves months off the schedule, and teams often treat it as a wider window to make decisions. It is actually the reverse. A polymer mold is cut against a surface that somebody has already committed to. What it removes is the expensive, dragged-out argument over a hard metal tool, the final institutional moment when anyone was forced to look at the shape again. It closes the decision window earlier and much more quietly. Over-the-air software updates are misread the exact same way. You can patch a digital cockpit interface in the field. You cannot patch a cowl point, the section through a shoulder, or the outer silhouette of the car. Every month bought by software is banked against a body that was frozen long before. This chart shows the McLeamy curve, mapping the cost of making changes over time. In a traditional cycle, the ability to influence a design stays relatively open until month 12. On this compressed timeline, the cost of change spikes brutally by month 3. In a 5-year program, the mid-cycle facelift serves as an institutional apology for a bad early decision. At 24 months, there is no facelift. The correction for a mistake is a totally new replacement model, and a company that needs one often doesn't survive to ship it. The drive for extreme industrial speed hasn't given anyone more room to iterate. It has simply made those initial physical design commitments permanent and potentially fatal much earlier in the process. So if we look back at the very beginning of the timeline, something remarkable emerges. The fastest product organizations on Earth compressed everything else, but they left the front end exactly where it was. Not a single hour was taken out of the concept phase. This chart shows the proportional shift. A concept phase that was once a modest slice of a 60-month program now expands to occupy nearly a third of the entire 24-month cycle. It is the largest remaining block on the chart, and more importantly, it is the only one still paid for entirely in human judgment, rather than computational power. Speed has moved the leverage, but it hasn't removed it. It has taken every ounce of human intuition and concentrated it right at the starting line. When the schedule after the design freeze is too short to absorb a single mistake, the only place left to buy quality is before the freeze. It is a brief window where everything is still fluid. Where a change in direction, a shifted proportion, or a radical new surface costs absolutely nothing but attention. But that weightless moment is entirely fleeting. The second the tooling is cut, that attention locks into reality. It becomes a rigid, unyielding object sitting on a show floor. with 85,000 people walking past it. Survival in this market demands absolute clarity before the physical build begins. You have to see it perfectly from every conceivable angle while you still have the power to change it. Because once the freeze happens, all you can do is wait for the invoice.